So that's it, Summer Game Festival came to an end and multiple video games were released. Let's talk about the top 10 games that we saw from this event, mostly the top 10 games that I'm most wanting to play and the ones that caught my attention the most. So without further ado, let's go with this video. So don't forget to leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and let's go with this video. So first of all, going back to number 10 is going with Sonic Superstars. Okay, you might be wondering, what the hell is this game? A Sonic game? So it's nothing like the new Sonic games are coming out. This one is basically how to do a remake that Sega was doing, which is a very stunning game with very surprising and beautiful visuals. They literally got the very first Sonic game that was so unique and so amazing with their mechanics, their platform mechanics basically, and they transformed it to this beautiful reality that this game is. This game will be released, but in spring of this year we'll see it, and I loved it, the visual at least. Number 9, we're going with Lies of P, which is basically a game that is a reimagination of Pinocchio. I don't know how can this go like this, but it's a very Souls-like game. It's really like Bloodborne, so if you never played Bloodborne because you're an Xbox or a PC player, I think PC has Bloodborne right now, but if you never played, this is gonna be basically the Xbox Bloodborne for you to play. That has amazing graphics, just like, I'm not gonna say just like, but very similar to Demon Souls, for example, and they're coming out also in September 19th in this year, and of course they're coming out on Xbox Game Pass day 1. Then 8th place, I'm going with Mortal Kombat 1. It's releasing 5 days before Lies of P is coming out on the 14th of September. It has such an amazing gameplay. Mortal Kombat, since the 10th, they adopted a very visual aspect that is so unique, and having of course their visual looking amazing, but I think what caught my attention were the colors that were so vivid. Liu Kang using their powers with his powers. Scorpion and Sub-Zero also were amazing, and we saw the trailer. I don't think the visual were that different from MK11, but I think once it comes out with PlayStation and Xbox and PC, I think the visuals are gonna be stunning, and of course they're gonna add something to reinforce that is the next generation, like for example changing places and seeing how the graphics support that. And in number 7, we're going with Assassin's Creed Mirage. I put it solo even though I love the franchise. I think because of what Ubisoft is doing, I'm going a little bit backwards with, at least with Assassin's Creed, but I might change my opinion later because the mechanics are just nostalgic. I remember playing like that in an Assassin's Creed game since Assassin's Creed Unity. The parkour is just so fluid, so amazing. The graphics are looking really good, better for me than Valhalla, and the story is coming back to its origins, which is actually talk about assassins. How about that? No one was gonna expect that, and it's coming out on the 12th of October. It's already here on your doorstep. Then on number 6, it's Alan Wake 2. I never played Alan Wake, alright, but I fell in love with it mostly because of the atmosphere. I'm getting in love with scary video games, terror video games. And I think, for example, the graphics are stunning. I think there's not any terror video game that looks like this. Maybe Resident Evil, even though it is a similar gameplay, but not so quiet. And the atmosphere for me, the characters, the place is just so awesome. And if you never played Alan Wake, if you want to know what's the story, it's basically a writer who spent 13 years trapped in the dark place beneath Cauldron Lake, which has taken the form of a nightmarish New York City. You also play as Wake as he attempts to write a dark story which is capable of shaping the reality around him in such a way that he can make his long-awaited escape no matter the consequences. It's coming out on the 17th of October. I am really pumped to play this game. Now coming out in 5th place, another game for the Xbox day 1, and it's an exclusive, which is Hellblade 2. It is coming out on 2024. It is a very, very mysterious plot for me because I've never played Hellblade. I got already the Xbox Game Pass, so I'm willing to play the first game to see for myself how good the first one is. But what caught my attention really was the atmosphere that kind of looks like Death Stranding with the terrains, but also the visuals of the characters' faces are just revolutionary. I think they are very few games right now that have this technology. I might go with The Last of Us 2, but I think this is one of the few games that actually has it really nice. I think the first trailer caught my attention a little bit more, but because I think it was a surprise, this one wasn't. And in the original story, at least, we follow a solitary Senua armed with the skull of her lover, and she's desperate to claim his soul from Helheim and the goddess Ella. And throughout the course of the game, we're shown flashes of this backstory, the relationship with Senua's parents, her psychological struggles, as well as her village is being destroyed by the Norse raiders. At the climax, we see Senua accepting her condition and embracing who she is. We don't know where she is off to for Senua's saga, but we are eager to journey with her once again. Then, in the fourth place, I'm going with Avatar. This Avatar game, I was expecting this game for a very long time. Did not disappoint me a lot because it is Ubisoft, so you need to put 10 steps behind so you can match your expectations. But if you look closely, it is a Far Cry for Avatar. It isn't actually a bad thing, of course, if they go with a very good part of Far Cry, which is the exploring, which is the visuals, which is the atmosphere that Far Cry creates. I think the gameplay lost a little bit its way throughout the Far Cry 5 or Far Cry 6, but I think Avatar is gonna fix that because it is such a beloved universe. I think James Cameron is looking after it because it's just such a loved franchise. Of course, it has $4 billion in movie box office on its back, so it needs to be a very careful project. I think the best aspects of this game are not going to be the visuals of the characters because I don't think Ubisoft is that good, but the world and the piloting, of course, of the banshees and piloting of riding, of course, the horses. I think this would be the best aspect of this game. And going with number 3, which is again an Xbox exclusive and day one for Game Pass, which is Fable. Finally, after 20 years, they made a remake out of that. I think they waited long enough because of I think the graphics and the technology needs to reach this potential for it to be a magnificent game. It has no date. In my opinion, it might come out in the beginning of 2025 or in the end of 2024 because they actually don't have any date, but of course they can postpone that. I don't think they're gonna do it because they already have a lot of things to show. It looks fantastic. I never played the original Fable. It came so long ago, and I was really curious to know what it's about because it caught my attention because I was not expecting some pass that the trailer was getting me. And for people who don't know about what the Fable is a series that takes place in the fiction nation of Albion, a state that at the time of the first game is composed of numerous autonomous city-states with vast areas of countryside, wilderness in between, and the setting originally resembles medieval Britain, you can see, or with some European elements. It looks fantastic. I cannot wait to play this game. Number 2, I think some people are gonna throw rocks at me, but I think Starfield 2 takes the second place, and I want to tell you why. First of all, it's coming out of Bethesda. Even though I do not hate Bethesda, I think they're a little bit overrated. They got a lot of IPs, very good IPs, but at least one of their latest ones, which is Fallout 76, was bomb. And I think, of course, I think they will come out of it alive, but I think putting too much expectations on Starfield might take you to a bad path. It can be a space Skyrim. Yes, it can be. I hope so that it's gonna be because I'm so pumped to play this game, but it can be a complete and total failure as well, so you need to be careful. And can be also a No Man's Sky. Not only the gameplay looks alike, but the story of huge expectations also look alike. The bigger the size, double the fall. And I think the exploration of this game is gonna catch players a lot because it's gonna be freaking insane with like 1,000 planets to go on. You're probably never gonna finish them. And the eager of just going through galaxies and exploring, I think what's gonna catch players is gonna be that, or maybe the progression that the player is gonna have to do, because also the progression and see that you are getting better and there's more stuff to see that's gonna caught players' attention to go look at to 100, 200 hours, and it can be a game that lasts for like 10 years. Skyrim, for example, there are people who still play, I don't know why, but there are people who actually play the game until now, even though the graphics are outdated. Starfield can last like that, but they need to fix some things up. And for me, the worst thing that they at least said was that maybe it will come out at 30 frames per second. I think they're gonna fix that, but it is, for me, I'm sorry, something unacceptable in this generation. Even though it is a free game if you have the Xbox Game Pass, but it is unacceptable, I'm sorry. But if they fix that, it's Game of the Year, and I don't think any game that might release at the same year might come close. I don't think so. I'm just putting a number 2 because I don't think it's gonna be everything that they're saying, but if they go to 50% of that, it's gonna be probably Game of the Year if there's not this first game that I'm gonna present to you, which is Star Wars Outlaws. Ubisoft, I want to hate you, but I cannot, because you bring me bad games and then you just bring me this freaking masterpiece. The game is gonna be releasing probably in 2024. It is passing during the height of the Empire, so it is the peak of their powers, so you're gonna be basically like a woman Han Solo. So the exploring of Star Wars, if they can do it right with multiple planets as well, just like they're doing with Starfield, of course gonna be that huge, gonna be a little bit close story, but with multiple planets to explore, multiple cities to explore, and piloting, of course, using starships, using your motorbike in your planets. So doing all of that and exploring, of course, the marvelous stories that Star Wars has to bring, of course, of the monsters, of the adventures, everything makes Star Wars perfect. They are gonna, or they're at least trying to put on this game. Basically, if you saw this trailer, if you watch Ubisoft's past works, you're not gonna see Ubisoft in it. It's kind of strange because it is the studio that did The Division 2. Of course, it is a Ubisoft game, but I think they're going with their full weapons, everything on this game. I think they are actually putting more effort in this game than the actual Avatar one, which is kind of surprising. But if you understand that Star Wars has a huge following, a huge fan base, they need to put it right, because if they do it right, just like EA kind of did with Star Wars Fallen Order, if they do it right, they can sell millions of copies of this game, and I will buy it. I will be the first guy to buy it. So yeah, I think that's it. I think those are the top 10 most awaited games, and for me, the top 10 greatest games that came out of this fair. They're gonna have a huge following after it. What are your guys' opinions? Do you think those are your top 10 as well? Did you like it? Do you not? I will see you guys on the next video, on the next review, or anything. So goodbye and peace.